This is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this video, we'll be discussing the 2018 film Creed 2, starring Sylvester Stallone, Michael B. Jordan, Dolph Lundgren, and also had Brigitte Nielsen in a cameo. Of course, this film, is, of course, is the sequel to the previous Creed film, which I also previously have reviewed. And of course, there's a movie that I think also got nominated for Academy Award, I believe, for the 2019 Oscar Award show. And I said, why? I mean, it's like not a bad follow because Creed, the first Creed film, even though I criticized it heavily and rightfully so, because of all the crap that was about the movie that's not one of Apollo, because for those who never saw my original review of Creed, it's basically the story of Apollo Creed's illegitimate son, played by Michael B. Jordan, and became a boxer. And it's following his story, and he runs into Sylvester Stallone, Rocky Balboa, who trains him for a fight, which he eventually loses in the previous film. Of course, this film, and surprisingly, became a pretty big hit. Became widely praised for the screenwriting and stuff. So, and not only that, but Stallone got an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor for that film, even though he didn't win. So, what do they do? So they make a sequel. So, they decided, what do we do for this film to continue the storyline? Well, guess what, folks? They decided to bring in Ivan Drago, the villain from Rocky IV, into this film to have Drago's son fight Apollo Creed's son. That's the premise that came up with this thing, and because of the fact that Ivan Drago's life went to crap after the famous fight he had with Rocky in Rocky, which was like 33 years earlier, between that Rocky IV and this film. That fight took place 33 years ago. And of course, since then, Brigitte Nielsen, who played Ivan Drago's wife, she leaves him. He pretty much gets kicked out to like Siberia almost because of they actually lost to America. And how dare that stinking American beat you? Get out of the country. They pretty much kicked him out. His wife got divorced. The divorce leaves him because he happened to have the nerve to lose to Rocky in their famous fight. So, and not only that, but of course all the crap that came afterwards, that he never had the real boxing career he had, especially in the United States, because everybody called him killed because he killed Apollo Creed in the ring. Of course, he says the line, "If he dies, he dies." In one of those few lines of dialogue he had in that movie. So what happened was, he wanted to challenge Apollo Creed because he found out that Apollo Creed is not only a fighter, but he literally just won the heavyweight championship within like the first 10 minutes of the movie of Creed 2. He just won the heavyweight title. Now, how can somebody who, all due respect to Michael B. Jordan, and was kind of like a borderline fan of his when he was on the soap opera All My Children, so I knew him from that role, playing Reggie. The problem is that Michael B. Jordan is too small, too tiny, not only height wise, by physique wise. Even though he did bulk up for playing this role, but he was too scrawny. And like I said, all due respect to the guy, he's just too scrawny to play a heavyweight champion. He doesn't have the physique, he doesn't have the height. I don't know how tall the guy really is in real life, but he doesn't even look like he's a 6 foot tall guy. He really doesn't, and so how can you even reach a guy who's as big as Ivan Drago or Ivan Drago's son or any decent sized fighter, how can you even fight any of these guys? So because he's just too short. He doesn't have the physique. I mean, he has a decent physique because he, like I said, he bulked up, but he doesn't have the physique or the the height advantage against anybody. Because it's kind of like Mike Tyson. But at least Mike Tyson has the muscular physique to make up for it. But Mike Tyson was also very very short compared to other fighters he fought with in his career. Same thing with Michael B. Jordan. He was extremely short. So how can you fight this guy? So I got on a tangent there, but it was true. So what Paul wanted, what Adonis wanted to do, or Donnie, everybody calls him Donnie for short. How are they going to fight this guy? Is at first Rocky. Naturally, he wants Rocky to train him again against him. He says no. And he says why? Because of what happened before. And then he told him the story of what happened. And said I was the one who was supposed to fight. Of course, anybody who watched Rocky, who haven't watched Rocky, very few of you who haven't watched Rocky 4 knows that originally Rocky was supposed to originally fight Drago first in Rocky 4, but Apollo, he wanted to be the guy to fight Drago first, and not Rocky. So he stepped over Rocky's head, went over Rocky's head, and he was the one who challenged Drago for his first fight in the United States. And of course, and the fight took place in Las Vegas, and he had a stupid production with James Brown, living in America and all that stuff. And of course, within the second round, Ivan Drago killed, with one fatal hit, kills Apollo Creed right there in the ring. So and Rocky tells Donnie, or Dallas, look, I wanted to throw, I should have thrown in the towel during the fight, and unfortunately I didn't, because Apollo, your father, told me not to throw in the towel, because he wanted to fight the guy. He didn't want to quit. He didn't want to quit in front of Ivan Drago, and unfortunately it cost him his life. And if he threw in the towel, your dad would still been alive. So you had all that stuff going on. Well, so Adonis decided to fight him anyway, and he recruited the son of Apollo's original trainer, Duke, who was playing in the original movie series by Tony Byrne, who was, after he did the sixth movie, Rocky Balboa, unfortunately he had passed away. So you couldn't really get Tony Byrne to play the part of Duke, so he got Little Duke, another actor to play, wasn't Tony Byrne's actual son. I don't know if he has a son in reality, but in the movie genre, in the movie universe here, he recruited his Apollo son, or Adonis recruited Duke's son to train him to fight Drago. And he says, at first he was reluctant to do it. He said, okay, and do it. I said, why, Rocky couldn't do it? I said, no, he decided no, he didn't want to do it. So I'm, because in the previous film, Creed movie, Duke's son said, or Duke Jr., I guess, says, they didn't want to do it because they didn't have enough experience. And he goes, well, do I have experience now? And the heavyweight champ. So he goes, okay, now I train you. So now you're the champ, I train you now. So, but then of course they had the match within like a half hour within the movie. And I thought, why are you doing it so early in the movie? I mean, it is just over 2 hour movie, like 2 hours and 10-minute film. So like, why are they doing this so damn early? And then I realized, I said, I don't know why they're doing it 2 hours. Instead of stretch it out and try to have like a little bit more confrontation between what happened with Apollo and Drago and Rocky IV, doing a little bit more stretched out, storyline now, or trying to have the thing with more again with Apollo and Rocky and Drago. That would have been cool. And they did have one scene before I get to the actual fight, or the first fight, I should say. Spoiler. They did have a scene in Rocky's restaurant, Adrian's, with him and Drago. talking to you now. And he said, why are you even here? And then, of course, Drago goes into this whole backstory about what happened to him since the fight. He said, my whole life has gone to crap, and I ruined it because I lost to you. Because you had the heart and desire to beat me, and you did, and because you beat me, I've been pretty much cast out of Russia. My wife left me, and just after the child was born, she leaves me, to raise the kid, and because I lost to you in the fight. And he says, well, unfortunately, it could happen to anybody. Unfortunately, it happened to you. It couldn't happen to anybody. It happened to plenty of other fighters too. Rocky Frank explained this to him, but he didn't give a shit. I mean, because he blamed Rocky for all the stuff that's happening. Now it's going to, since Rocky's son is not a fighter, he's not a boxer, he's going to take it out on Apollo Creed's son because he found out Apollo Creed's son is now the champ. Now, of course, the problem is, same problem I have with the original Creed movie, is that this is not Apollo Creed's real son. What I mean by that is, anybody who's watched the Rocky movies knows that Apollo actually has 2 kids. So I should say 2 legitimate kids. And I made this point in my review of the first Creed movie, that instead of taking that kid, right, to make him, a boxer, right, following in his father's footsteps, trying to reclaim the Creed name, right, which makes sense to anybody who watches the Rocky movies, right? But no, he has to make it an illegitimate kid. Because, a black man cannot have, and I don't want to make this a racial thing, but in the black, so-called, quote-unquote, black culture, a black man cannot have a legitimate kid. He's going to have 50 children, 50 different women, that type of crap. And they put that type of stereotype into this movie that Apollo Creed could not have a legitimate kid, even though that he has 2 legitimate kids with his wife, right? He has to make it an illegitimate. He has to make Adonis Creed, the Michael B. Jordan character, to an illegitimate love child of Apollo Creed, because he apparently knocked up a woman at the time he died in the ring to Ivan Drago. So considerably, the guy is probably like 33 years old at the time of this movie. You should like 33 or 34 years, 34 years old, or 32 or 33 years old at the time of this movie. I mean, come on, what the hell? I mean, you should have had, if you really want to make sense, have Apollo Creed's legitimate son. And now, of course, in this movie, in Creed 2, just like in the original first Creed film, there was absolutely zero mention of the other 2 kids that Apollo Creed had. It's like they've completely been written out of the whole Rocky universe. Completely written those two kids out. Completely written them out. It was like something like a Back to the Future, like they're never born or something, like a time travel bullshit thing here. The 2 kids were never even born. I mean, come on, fuck you, Hollywood. I mean, excuse my language, but they took out the 2 legitimate kids that Apollo Creed had with his wife and replaced those 2 kids with 1 illegitimate one. I mean, come on. And then they wrote those 2 kids completely out of the movie. But now to the fight, Adonis, he got his ass kicked by Ivan Drago, son. I think it's called Victor Drago, to the point where, unlike in the Apollo Creed Ivan Drago fight, when he dies in the ring, when Apollo dies in the ring, this time Adonis Creed does not die in the ring. He had like a broken rib, a bruised kidney, and a concussion, all from that first fight. And what happened was, well, unlike what Ivan Drago did to Rocky in the first fight, when he slams him to the several times in that match, You know, when Rocky fought Drago, when Drago would hit Rocky a few times after the bell, or that we threw him in the corner, threw him like a rag doll. And there's one point where Rocky flips him up and lifts him and slams him down like a wrestler during the match. No, nothing happened to it. No warnings, no disqualification or anything. In the original match, when Adonis was getting his ass kicked by Victor Drago in the first match, you know, and the referee said put a stop to it because, you know, Adonis was already on the mat, he was on his knees at that time, and Victor was punching him, and so the referee decides to disqualify Ivan Drago's son, so it disqualifies him. So because of that, he was disputing what happened with the match. The referee shouldn't have disqualified him, and the WBF, which is one of the federations that controls boxing, agrees with what the referee did because he hit him when he was on the ground, and so they are holding the decision that Adonis Creed got the win by disqualification. So what Ivan Drago and Victor Drago was doing was trying to get him into a rematch because they thought they got ripped off. They felt that, hey, if this was in Russia, it wouldn't have got disqualified. So what happened was like the same thing with Rocky IV. They had another match in Russia, and this time Ivan Drago threw in the towel in the end of the match, and that's how that match ended. Spoiler. But between the two fights, you had Adonis, trying to recover, doing physical therapy, trying to recover, get ready. And meanwhile, his girlfriend, who he proposed after he won, after he won the heavyweight championship, proposed to his girlfriend, even though he never actually saw them get married. Right? Now he has an illegitimate kid with his girlfriend, like father, like son, right? You can't have a child born in wedlock. You never have a child born out of wedlock. That's what blacks do. Or black guys do. You have child. You don't marry the woman. You just you just screw them, get them knocked up, and then leave them. That's what blacks do. So they wrote that stereotype. It is a stereotype into this movie, and he never marries the girlfriend, but he knocks her up. They have a child, and they worry that the child was going to be deaf like her. And they did one test, and it was like, okay. They couldn't confirm it because it was like a quote unquote like normal thing. We check it out a few months later when it's a little bit older. We check it again. Because the mother had like an inherited hearing condition. Even though she's supposed to be a singer, she has a hearing problem. So you have that going on. While at the same time, you have Apollo Creed's son, Ivan Drago, and his son trying to egg Adonis back into the ring, which of course eventually does happen. And this time, Rocky decides to, train Adonis, and eventually they go into the whole training montage. A stereotypical training montage you see in the Rocky, it's played to death in the Rocky movies, or at least the original 6 films, playing the Rocky Balboa film. So you have that going on, and then you had the actual match, which was like a really, really violent match, and you do have the match montage, and they even go through the whole 12 rounds. And I think it went like maybe like 9 rounds. I think he went to about, and it just saw last night. I think he went to maybe his match just 10th round. And then go through the full 12, like you would have the classic Rocky movies where all the, except for the Mr. T fight in the third one, all the matches went to the full. At that time it was 15 rounds. Now it's like 12, because of what happened with the Ray Boom Boom Mancini match versus I forgot the name of the Korean fighter he fought, who literally died in the ring. Or at least like a week or 2 weeks later, he was in a coma for like 2 weeks and died. Because of that match, all matches could go no more than 12 rounds. So, but after Rocky IV was 15 rounds. The match that Rocky had with Drago, that was a 15-round match. But after that, everything has to be 12 rounds. And I think this match went like the 10th round when it was finished. Because it looks like that Adonis was going to lose and die in the ring. And then he had the strength of the heart to come back instead of being Adonis. But unfortunately he didn't, because of Adonis' size and stuff. He couldn't really knock out Creed, even though he beat the crap out of him. He was beating him crap to the point, and then of course Drago's son, Victor Drago, he neither one of them wanted to quit until when Ivan Drago he literally threw in the towel. When the standard when you have a towel, you throw it in the ring, and the match is over. Depends on which corner it is. So Ivan Drago threw in the towel for his son, and the match was over. But the movie itself, I thought it wasn't that bad of a movie. I thought it was maybe 15 minutes too long. Maybe as much as maybe 20 minutes. And they kind of half the stuff with him, all the baby stuff, or with, if they cut all that stuff out. I don't mind having birth of the kid, or having the kid being born, or have the two, Apollo, Adonis and his girlfriend getting married, which you never saw in the movie, by the way. If they had that stuff, and I won't mind that so much, but it was like panning out the script. But if they concentrated more on the whole storyline with what happened with Apollo and Drago in the first place, and I think the original script was that was supposed to be the opposite of what Rocky IV was. That means when Rocky was fighting Drago and he was training, like old school training, well, Drago was fighting more new school. That would have been the opposite for this film. When Adonis was training in new school, and then Drago's son was training the way Rocky did. That's what it was supposed to have been, but I guess they changed it. But in terms of Creed 2, it wasn't. And that wasn't bad, but it could. But I felt the movie could have been better. I mean, I like the storyline, I like the plot, but the movies could. The storyline could have been better, and the planning could have been better. If they change some things around, if they add more with the Rocky Drago stuff, or the Apollo Creed Drago stuff, and they pumped up that storyline, and so Adonis would know more of that history, instead of maybe like a 2-minute scene or whatever, and have Apollo Creed's real legitimate kids in this movie, instead of writing them out, it would have been a better movie. On the two Creed films. And of course the joke is, if they make a Creed 3, what's next going to be? Have Mr. T's son fight Creed's son? That's probably what's going to be next. If they ever make a Creed 3 film. So that's my review of Creed 2. Please click on the video, please rate it. Please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video on your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews and on my YouTube channel at RowdyC.com. It's OWDY, C.com. Homepage and Rowdy reviewer Christine Moore, and please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.